Hello everybody, welcome back to another Blox video, and in today's video I was going to do a ranking on every single mythical weapon in the game that is currently obtainable by the player, including Dark Blade, of course excluding triple Dark Blade because that's not obtainable unless you are an admin or you are a very famous YouTuber, which neither of those things I am, so unfortunately I cannot show that off to you. Not that I really give a shit about that weapon, it's not really something I've bothered with it. But yeah, the ranking video, I wanted to do one of these because I've been playing Blox quite a bit. I've been grinding very hard on this game, getting all of the mythical weapons and upgrading them, including Soul Guitar. Don't worry, Soul Guitar is here as well. So yeah, I just wanted to compare them to each other. I'm not going to be comparing them to any legendary weapons, so there is going to be a lot of opinions thrown around, and a lot of people may not agree with those things, and that's okay. You can go ahead and make your own list down in the comments below. If you think that my list sucks, that's fine. I don't really care. And another rule I'm going to put in here is that I'm not really going to be talking all that much about PvP, since PvP really is all preference based at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter all too much which one you use. There are statistics that you may want to look at when it comes to PvPing, if you even give a shit about that. So like example, Crystal Katana has double instinct breakers, which, you know, none of these others have instinct breakers at all. So, you know, I think the Z move on True Triple Katana breaks instinct, but Crystal Katana has double instinct breakers, which makes it a lot more desirable for PvP. It also is easier to use in PvP than it is any other weapons on this list. So just keep the note of that. I understand that you guys might think that Dark Blade, Hollow Sight, Triple Shoot, like, I don't give a shit which one you use in PvP. I don't. I really just don't. So like, don't bother commenting that, because I get it, dude. Well, you see, Trump, I use Hollow Sight and I use Darkman Karate, and I can beat anyone in PvP. Good job, Billy. That's good for you. But mostly this is going to be talking about C events and grinding and how hard they are to get or how difficult they are to obtain, and if they're worth your time to get or not, and how much damage they deal, what the potential of the weapon is, if it's high or not. I would also like to thank my good friend Cosmic and another person by the name of Red_Sword for helping me get the Hollow Scythe and the Dark Blade. Cosmic helped me so much with getting the Hollow Scythe. It was quite the pain in the ass. I really do appreciate him for that. And a good buddy of mine gave me the Dark Blade for the video. Of course, I respect them so much. So yeah, make sure you go subscribe to Cosmic if you haven't already. I mean, if you watch my content, you probably have seen his content. Fuck! You probably have seen his content before as well. Meaning, yeah, no, go subscribe to him. I'll put him in the description down below. So go ahead and check him out. So yeah, let's get right into the list. So in our last spot here, we have the Hollow Scythe. Hollow Scythe is a fan favorite. A lot of people like using it for grinding. It's got really weak M1s, but it does have the fastest M1s in the game, so it's pretty decent for booty users, honestly. But the issue with this weapon is that its moves kind of suck ass. Like, if you're doing C events, both moves can hit Sea Beast and whatnot. The X moves have a lot of trouble hitting ships. It's mainly very buggy and fairly difficult. And if you are a Sharkman and you aren't using Buddha, you are going to probably take sea damage if you attempt to use this thing while in the water. The X move can be used on the Terror Shark and bring them up in the air like this. So you can actually do this, and then this can combo into a Z, which again, you could do some pretty solid damage with it. It's not the best of the weapons to get, and it's also pretty hard to get your hands on the Hollow Scythe, seeing as you really do need to go out of your way, and you might need to even, you know, spend upwards of an entire fruit, mythical rarity fruit, just to get your hands on the Hollow Scythe, or even a chance at getting it. That's for Hollow Essence to spawn in the Hollow Reaper in the Haunted Shipwreck, or the Haunted Ship over there, which is very annoying and can be very hard for the player to obtain, especially if you're solo. This actually took me 38 kills to get my hands on a single Hollow Scythe, which is terrible luck, I know, which of course is going to play a factor in a lot of things here. This is also one of my least used out of all of the mythical weapons, mainly just because it has an undesirable moveset, and the moves don't feel very satisfying to use. Mobility potential is decent, since the X move does allow you to travel wherever you would like with it, so that's pretty good as well, and the Z move is quite large, so it's pretty easy to hit NPCs with it. Although this thing in PvP is pretty bad, in my opinion. Its combo potential is very low. It's a really hit or miss, and I understand that, like, the X move can be used and does a lot of damage when people are lower on health, but that's kind of irrelevant, since most of the time, if someone is that low anyways, they're probably just going to die in a couple melee swings anyways. So why would you even want to use this? Like, outside of the mobility potential and the large Z move, there's better options. Like, there really is. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Hollow Scythe. And of course, up next on the list, we have ourselves the Dark Blade. It's a fan favorite. A lot of people really do like the Dark Blade. Visually, it looks very cool. The style of the moves is very interesting. The X and the Z move both have different traits when you charge them and don't charge them, making it one of the more unique weapons to use in PvP and PvE. This sword is pretty mediocre, all things considered. It does decent damage. It really doesn't have much going for it, since neither of the moves, from what I know, can break instinct, so in PvP, it is pretty lacking. The X move is, if you charge it in, it is instantaneous, making it basically a hit scan move, which is pretty fucking good, meaning that for the X move, you can actually follow up with a lot of combos, especially like with God Human if you're PvPing, making it one of the more desirable weapons in the game, mainly because it's not obtainable by normal standards, and the only way you can get it is through trading, meaning that this could be either one of the hardest weapons in the game to obtain, or one of the easiest, depending on who you know or how lucky you are when it comes to fruits. This, of course, means that getting your hands on one requires players to be cooperative with you and willing to trade with you, and of course that means that you need to make sure that you don't get scammed. This, of course, is one of the main reasons why it's so low on the list, because getting your hands on one of these can be literally impossible to being very easy. Of course, you could also fork over the $12 in Robux if you have that kind of money lying around, which of course not many people really want to spend that kind of money, because you'd rather spend that on fucking, I don't know, weed and tobacco or some shit. I don't fucking know. But yeah, the Dark Blade really is lacking on a lot of fronts, with mediocre stats, and the fact that when you obtain it, you need to go do a quest in the first sea just to upgrade it. So in its not upgraded state, it's really mediocre, and is even worse, does significantly less damage. Its M1s, even when upgraded, and its X move fully charged, doesn't do that much damage compared to CDK or TTK, making it one of the tougher weapons to use in the game, since it requires a lot of precision and it requires you to be very close range, especially for the Z move. Not many people really want to use the Dark Blade from PvP or anything like that. That's pretty much it for the Dark Blade. Not many really people I know use it. I've actually never seen someone use it in PvP. I've only ever seen people flex the Dark Blade. So yeah, that's the Dark Blade. And coming up on next on the list is Soul Guitar. A fan favorite, everyone uses Soul Guitar. It's very, very good in PvP, it's very, very good in a lot of different scenarios. It also heals you, which a lot of people like that as well. Insane instinct breakers, really easy to get your hands on. All you need to do is get those, 2300, and you get 500 bones, and boom, Soul Guitar is yours. Yeah, this is one of the easiest of the mythical items to obtain, mainly because it does not require you to do anything besides level up and get 500 bones. And of course, a lot of people can do that, because by the time you even get level 2300, you're probably going to have that many bones anyways. Making that this is pretty much one of the few weapons that I would say that you should get your hands on, regardless of whether or not you're a gun build. On top of that, the Soul Guitar is incredibly good in C events. It is the best mythical weapon in C events since it is so spammable. The M1s can hit C events, the X and Z can hit C events, making it one of the most desirable weapons in the game for C events. I recommend you use it. This weapon being so superb in C events means alone, you should get your hands on this weapon. This is also very, very good in PvP. There's a lot of people that I know that are gun builds that use the Soul Guitar. The X move is very large, breaks instinct, and heals the player for 1000 health. The Z move, again, same thing, very large, it's a lot of damage, and goes, very far. And as we know, it has a massive hitbox. So, definitely one of the best weapons in the game to get your hands on, especially for guns. With the gun rework coming, this is definitely going to be, contended with the newer weapons that are coming out, and from what I've seen of the new Kabucha and the Acidium rifle. So yeah, Soul Guitar is definitely insanely good. It helps you in PvP. It's good for one-shot combos. It does it all. There's really nothing it can't do at this point. But yeah, that was the Soul Guitar. And of course, up next on the list, we have True Triple Katana. Now, a lot of people are probably not surprised to see it in the second spot, but yeah, True Triple Katana is a fucking insanely good weapon from what I've used it. I went from despising it and hating it to actually loving it. The Z move is very good. It does a lot of damage and has decent mobility options. The X move is incredible for combos as it is incredibly large and follows your mouse cursor. It's very good for grinding as well. The M1s are very strong. It has some of the strongest M1s in the game. Actually, I think it does have the strongest M1s in the game, apart from, I believe, Vicento, which is the only thing that can beat it in terms of M1 damage, making it incredibly desirable for grinding if you know how to strafe NPCs and stay away from them. It also has one of the longest dashes out of any sword in the game, making it decent for mobility, as one of my good friends like to use it quite a bit for that exact reason. I personally don't see this as an attribute, since it makes it a lot harder to FK grind with it, so if you're trying to get mastery, it can be very, very difficult. And of course, the X move is the most desirable trait of this weapon. A lot of people use it in PvP. A lot of people hate people that use it in PvP, but it is unfortunately something people are going to use in PvP, mainly just because it's very easy to use. None of the moves break instinct, but that's not really much of an issue since the X move actually shreds through your instinct dodges, so it might as well just be an instinct breaker anyways. Very, very good weapon for PvP and of course grinding, as I just stated before. The main downside of getting this weapon is that it is the hardest of the mythical weapons to obtain, meaning that you are going to be sitting there for hours, days even, trying to get your hands on the true triple katana. It will cost you quite some time just to get it. Now, of course, you could pay a scripter to get your hands on it. I've seen a lot of people doing that in the Discord server. Now, whether or not I condone this is not on me. I don't really give a shit what you do. I'm just letting you know that there's an easier way to obtain it. Sitting in a server grinding for this thing sucked ass. One of my good buddies, Cosmic, guess he grinded his ass off getting the true triple katana in a private server, and it took him about 3 days to get all 3 swords, and it was fucking awful. Yeah, this sword sucks to get, but it sure as hell is worth your time at the end of the day, since both moves do hit C events. The Z move is a bit glitchy in C events. Most dash moves have trouble hitting C events, so it's not really surprising, but the Z move can hit C events. It's just, again, it's a really fucky hitbox. The X move obviously can hit C events. It's got a very large range. It's very decent for the Leviathan. So yeah, the true triple katana, definitely worth your time, and that's the reason why it's in number 2. And up next on the list, aka number 1, the best possible mythical weapon you can get your hands on, to no surprise of anyone, is the Cursed Dual Katana. Cursed Dual Katana has some of the stronger M1s in the game. It has no knockback on the M1s either, making it very desirable for Buddha users. The X and Z move are incredibly good as they both break instinct and shred through instinct dodges even if they don't land, and it is also very, very strong in grinding. The X move has the longest dash out of any move in the game, as it has the most lunge, meaning that it has the best mobility in my opinion. I think the X move on Cursed Dual Katana is so good. I love it a lot. I put on this sword sometimes even though I'm not a sword build, and I'll just use the X just to get around or use it for mobility options. It is very strong. Both moves can hit in C events, meaning that, again, very, very good for that exact reason. You just tap the Z move, that comes out and does a lot of damage, and the X move, of course, also hits C events as well. I have noticed that the X move does bug out a little bit on Leviathan and will not hit him sometimes, meaning that this move, the X move, Slayer of the Goliath, can be kind of bad for Leviathans if you are doing that. But other than that, if it doesn't bug out constantly, then the X move can be very, very, very good. Of course, this is the best out of all the weapons in PvP, just by a statistical standpoint and the fact that both of them moves break instinct. So this becomes very desirable for most players when they hit the end game, because there's not much left for you to do. So, of course, why not get your hands on it? How hard is it to obtain? Decently hard. You do need to get Ripindra, you do need to get Yama, and that can be kind of hard. It's overwhelming at first, but in practice, it is actually not that bad to get your hands on. So I would definitely recommend getting your hands on the Cursed Dual Katana. It's definitely worth your time, mainly because the Z and X move are very, very good in PvP, and a lot of players love doing PvP. As you can see, that did 5,400 damage. The fully charged X move does 4861 damage. Very, very strong. And on top of it, you can actually put blessings on this sword, making it even stronger, including every other weapon on this list. Definitely one of the best weapons in the game, period. So if you haven't gotten it yet and you're about level 2300, get your ass going and get it. The X move is also multi-target. It can hit several enemies all at once, doing significant amounts of damage. Again, making you even better in PvP, especially if you have a lot of enemies on you. Because the X move dashes so fast, during raids you might actually see yourself going through the opponent and actually not taking any damage because you'll be completely safe. So definitely really nice, especially for Do King. The Z move as well, which picks them up like this, stuns them, and they can't do anything, and sends them away, making this one of the best raid weapons in the game, especially if you're not using Buddha and you are a sword build. It is definitely pretty strong. I don't really think anything is going to beat this Cursed Dual Katana for quite a long time, especially because there aren't very many updates coming out for new content. There is, of course, new updates and changes coming around the corner. As we all know, the brand spanking new gun update is coming out. So for all we know, maybe they're adding a new sword, but I really doubt that. I don't think they're going to be adding any new mythical weapons anytime soon, but, you know, you never know. So yeah, guys, that was my ranking video on all of the mythical weapons. Go ahead and make sure you dislike it if you hated the video, and tell me why down in the comments below. I do read all my comments, and I do appreciate all the criticism. That's the only way to grow on YouTube, and I do respect you guys. I really do. Of course, not many people are going to agree with my takes on Blox Fruits. Not many people do. I've had a lot of people get really upset with me about my God Human video, saying that it was not worth the grind, and I still stick by that. I still don't think it's worth your time getting God Human. But hey, man, who am I to say whether or not you should or shouldn't get it? If you want to get it, go get it, man. I mean, like, most people PvP in this game. If you're playing on PvP, then go get God Human. What are you doing? But for grinding, man, just save up for Sanguine Arts or stick with either Dragon Talon or use Sharkman Karate, because those two are superior in grinding, in my opinion. Especially for Z events. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.